Welcome to Ethanol Producer Magazine podcast. I am your host, Katie Schroeder, Associate Editor with EPM. This week's episode is sponsored by ICM, and we are chatting with Alex Wayman from ICM and Jamey Cline from Christianson PLLP. Before we get started, a little bit of background on Alex and Jamey. Alex Wayman is Director of Project Development with ICM. He collaborates across internal and external teams to deliver process solutions to meet customers' specific project needs. Having joined ICM in 2014, Alex boasts over 10 years of experience in the ethanol industry. With a strong background as project manager in industrial construction, Alex has a proven track record of contributing to the success of both small and large-scale projects. His experience spans from the initial stages of contract negotiations to the engineering, construction, startup, commissioning, and handover of projects. Additionally, Alex serves as a subject matter expert in ICM technologies, actively supporting their sales team with customers' interest and inquiries. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Construction Management from Kansas State University. We're also speaking with Jamey Cline, who is a partner with Christianson PLLP, a full-service CPA firm which provides accounting, auditing, tax, software, and consulting services to clients primarily in the agricultural industry. Cline joined the company in 2013 and is responsible for Christianson's direct sales activities and new customer prospecting. Jamey brings more than 25 years of experience in the agricultural and bioenergy industries, focusing on adding value to agricultural commodities and project development. He is a graduate of the University of Missouri-Columbia with a bachelor's and master's degree in agricultural economics. Welcome, Alex and Jamey.
Appreciate the introduction. Thank you, Katie.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. So, Alex, just to get us started, could you tell us a little bit about what FOT oil recovery is? And I understand that's one of your big products and popular products over at ICM.
Oh, absolutely, Katie. I can definitely kind of give a little explanation for the audience. So every ethanol plant has a whole stillage solid and liquid separation step. And most plants perfected the recovery of corn oil from the liquid phase or the thin stillage. But all plants have an opportunity to reduce or oil remaining in the solids phase, or what I like to call the decanter wet cake. That's what most people call it in the industry. So the FOT oil recovery modifies the whole stillage dewatering step. It's a patented two-stage process to improve separation of the solids and liquids from the whole stillage, and then also perform a washing step on the decanter wet cake to increase the plant's percent oil recovery. You know, at ICM, we state percent oil recovery. That's equivalent to oil yield at a plant, but we look at percent oil recovery more as a staple of the FOT oil recovery system. The opportunity is different with every customer. It really depends on plant's crude fat and moisture content, incoming corn, and their current percent oil recovery. Generally, we anticipate between a 20 to 40% increase in the plant's corn oil recovery. And then in some cases, we're actually expecting up to a 50% increase in oil recovery.
That's really exciting. Thank you so much for kind of laying that out for us. So I'm curious, what kind of makes this technology stand out in the market? How is it different from other technologies that are out there?
Well, Katie, while other technologies attempt to compete with a similar increase in oil yield, ICM's FOT oil recovery drives for efficiencies. And that's a staple for ICM technologies. If you're up to speed with any of them, it's something we drive through in everything that we look at. But with the FOT oil recovery, first, it requires minimal horsepower addition. We're accomplishing this through reuse and enhancement of the plant's existing whole stillage decanters. Other technologies, they require an entire lineup of new centrifuges, which doubles electrical horsepower requirements and maintenance. Second, ICM deploys cutting-edge mechanical separation technology and techniques, and also a patented washing step to migrate the oil to recovery instead of just relying only on chemicals, the job done as other technologies do. So FOT allows, our customers to do a combination of mechanical and chemical to allow plants to maximize the oil recovery. Third, it's a platform technology. It's capable of being combined with other ICM technologies in the future to achieve further oil yield improvements. So you're not just stuck with FOT oil recovery as the next step. You can go beyond that. And then fourth and most important, the reason we have Jamey on here is the FOT oil recovery is the technology that provides the natural gas reduction at the dryers. So we're accomplishing this through more efficient dewatering of the decanter cake, which opens up a pathway for plants to access a USDA REAP grant for the project. So, Jamey, I'm going to pause there. I've done most of the talking. I think you need to tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah.
Thanks to both BBI and ICM for the opportunity to be here and talk with you today. We've been successful in working with some plants and with ICM on various technologies throughout several years, as well as the FOT technology to apply for the grant that Alex just mentioned. It's called the Rural Energy for America Program, or REAP for short, from USDA Rural Development. So many of you are familiar with those folks, and they have offices in each and every state for the plants to work with. This is a Farm Bill funded program. It has existed since 2009 and was recently expanded with the $1.055 billion from the Inflation Reduction Act, or the IRA. The basic background on the grant: the program has both grants and loan guarantees, has quarterly competitions with these pandemic funds we're working with right now, has technical, financial, and due diligence components that are all required, as well as some other prerequisites. You have to be a rural business to be eligible. So USDA has an online map to show if your business is eligible or not. But overall, it's communities or rural areas under 50,000 in population. So that fits the ethanol plant very, very well. Now, the grant program specifically has two components. The one we're talking about here today is Energy Efficiency Improvement, which is a $500,000 grant. It provides up to 50% in total project costs. Projects require an energy audit and have to show the decrease in energy use for that unit operation or area of the plant. Projects really need to decrease energy use by a minimum of 20% in order to score well, and better if they decrease energy use by 30 or 35% in that area. So this fits the bill very, very well with FOT. Again, we have to have energy audits. We have to plan ahead for that component. The second part of the grants within a REAP is the rural energy system. So if a plant is debottlenecking or increasing their production, which we've worked with other ICM technologies on, they can receive up to $1 million right now, or up to 25% of total costs, or 50% if the project does not produce any greenhouse gases. So these are projects that increase your production of ethanol, debottleneck to help increase production of the project. Projects there require a feasibility study. So again, you have to plan ahead, and you can apply for both of them in the same fiscal year. You have to have either two separate projects, or we can segregate off pieces of the same project. So a great way to help lower costs for the plant.
Great. Thank you so much, Jamey. That's a great kind of explanation of how that USDA grant access applies and is accessible to this people using this technology. I think I'd love to hear a little bit more from you, Alex, on this FOT technology. Are there any of these up and running currently? And if so, what are some of the benefits or percentage recoveries increases that you guys are seeing?
So to answer your question, yes. We have 4 FOT systems currently in operation, and we have the 5th and 6th coming online within the next 12 months, which we are super excited about. And obviously, we'd like to add to that list, but that's what we currently have going for the FOT oil recovery system. We also have completed over 30 trials I think it's nearly 30 trials at 30 plants for FOT oil recovery. And so this is a live trial that we're doing with process streams coming in and out of a semi-trailer that we pull to people's sites. So we have profiled many plants, either those that are in operation with the system or those where we're actually looking at deploying the system. So a lot of good data. The results have varied, but we have seen, 20% or greater in increase in oil recovery, and then an average of 1,300 BTU per gallon reduction in natural gas usage. And like I said before, the opportunity at each plant is specific and depends on a couple items. So the incoming corn fat is one of those, the plant's current percent oil recovery or oil yield, and then yet is the percent DDGs produced by that plant. So if you're a plant that's drying more, you're going to see above that 1,300 BTU per gallon reduction. If you're a plant that has more of a wet or modified market and are drying a little bit less, then you're going to see closer to that 1,300 BTU per gallon reduction. But it's still an opportunity to be able to, get access to that USDA grant and, basically bring a better ROI to the project overall And that's the pathway that this system opens up for plants. It's not just oil. It's awesome on oil. I mean, that's where a lot of the payback is. But heck, if you can go get $500,000 because of the natural gas benefit it brings, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Jamie, just to ask you though, I mean, have you been successful on establishing the USDA grant for any plants with this system?
We have. We've applied with several plants for this technology. It's worked out really, really well. And maybe that's just a short opportunity for me to talk about our process a little bit. First, I really want to underline this is a collaborative effort. We need to work with your technology provider, with ICM, with the people in the plant, with any subs you have available. It requires information from everyone. It truly is a marathon, not a sprint. So it's one of those things that you want to start early in your process. Sometimes we even start with groups before the board approves your project. We can evaluate, see if the project's eligible for a grant. And right now it's important because if you're thinking about installing FOT and you want to work with a grant to help do that, the pandemic funds are available through the end of the third quarter, and it takes 2 or 3 months to put together an application. So contact us early in your due diligence process. As far as working with the plant, we work to understand the project, get the main contact with the plant, with ICM, et cetera, SharePoint site to facilitate information exchange, so that we've been successful in working with several plants through this process.
Good to hear. Who should a producer reach out to if they have some questions or want to know more about anything that either of you have been talking about?
Well, yeah, for the ICM side, Katie, I mean, best way to get more information on the FOT oil recovery or anything we talked about in this podcast is to reach out to your ICM account manager. And if you're not familiar with who that is, you can obviously reach out to me as well. My email is alex.wayman@icminc.com. And I'd be happy to discuss further the technology with anyone that's interested.
And you can work through Alex is perfectly fine, or you can reach out to me as Cline at ChristiansonCPA.com.
Awesome. In closing, the question I have for both of you is if you had one thing you wanted ethanol producers to take away from this podcast and the points you both have touched on, what would that be if you had like a minute or so in an elevator? What would you want them to take away?
All right. So my elevator pitch would be ICM approaches each opportunity with an open mind, knowing that not every plant is the same, they're unique. So we prefer a partnership approach with ethanol plants and their staff to identify the best solution to drive additional revenue to their bottom line. I believe that the FOT oil recovery is a great addition for plants, allowing them to drive their oil recovery to the next level while reducing CI score through natural gas reduction. So that is, in a nutshell, my elevator pitch.
It's a great elevator pitch. Thanks, Alex. What about you, Jamie?
Couple quick things I would mention. This technology has been utilized for REAP grants already, so it's a good opportunity. Timing is key, so contact us early in your due diligence. And bottom line, the grant provides a great opportunity to lower risk and cost as you work towards putting in FOT to lower CI toward 45Z and increased energy efficiency.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up our time for today. Thank you so much to Jamie and Alex and ICM for joining us on this podcast. For more podcasts like this, please visit ethanolproducer.com and subscribe for more industry updates. Thanks again to our listeners, and until next time.